Hello to everyone in the TechVed TV audience. Greetings to all contacts and connections and everyone watching this around the world. I'm very honored to be asked to participate in this series. My name is Albert Bellamy. I am currently pivoting out of a career in the United States Marine Corps and I'm going into data analytics. Something that's helped me very much along the way has been networking and personal branding, and specifically the use of LinkedIn to accomplish those goals. I'm honored that you've asked me here to teach this 5-part series on networking and personal branding. Let's talk about what we're going to discuss. This first episode today is going to talk about completing your LinkedIn profile. Now that profile is going to be a force multiplier for you to deliver passive opportunities. And by passive, I mean something you don't have to go out and directly engage to get. Recruiters, hiring managers, they're going to come to you once they see your profile. The second video is going to be on networking. Developing targeted, friendly, professional relations with people that are going to help you get ahead in your profession. The third video is going to be on content creation, which is going to start establishing your brand and your presence and get you known by people you're not even connected to. The fourth video is going to be developing a public work portfolio, getting the guts to put your work out there and getting people to know what your worth is without you actually working for their companies. And then that fifth and final video is going to be on strategic branding, where we're going to tie everything together and get it all directed towards the same goal. Now, some of you might ask, why do I focus on LinkedIn? I personally have used LinkedIn to great effect. Like I said, I'm a midlife, mid-career pivot from one industry to another. And without LinkedIn, I wouldn't have half of the opportunities I have. I currently have 2 paid jobs that I'll be starting next month. And I actually turned down 2 other lucrative offers. And all of these opportunities were delivered to me in part because of either connections I made on LinkedIn or work that I've done on LinkedIn. I have contacts that I've developed in Canada, throughout Europe, in the Middle East, Africa, India, and Australia. And I did all this in a period with the COVID-19 pandemic. So travel and meeting these people would have been completely impossible. Without LinkedIn, I would have never met them. So without further ado, let's get to our first topic, and that is LinkedIn profile completion. The goal with profile completion is you want to appear qualified, approachable, and employable to those hiring managers and recruiters that are out looking for people to work for them. LinkedIn likes to advertise that users with complete profiles are 40 times more likely to receive opportunities, pop up in searches, and get job offers than people with incomplete profiles. And I got to tell you, with all of the contacts I have specifically in India, but really throughout the data industry, I see way too many incomplete profiles with kind of glaring gaps throughout. And that really stands out to a recruiter and says, you don't care about your public persona. Now let's talk about it. Now, when I say complete profile, LinkedIn considers this a term called all-star. Now, if you don't know what an all-star is, don't worry about it. It's an American sports term. However, all you need to know is this is the completion of the basic elements of your profile and the building blocks of what a recruiter or a hiring manager is going to look for. And it consists of 7 elements that you have to fill in. These are very easy to fill in. You can complete an all-star profile quite simply in under an hour, and you'll have the basics that you need to move forward. The first and maybe most important is your profile photo. Profile photo appears absolutely everywhere. It's on every comment you leave, every reaction you give to someone else's post. It's at the top of your post, it's at the top of your profile. And it quite simply, it is the visual representation of you. You may have no other photos anywhere on your profile or indeed anywhere on the internet, but everyone can search for that photo and they see you. So it's the most important. I always recommend to my American audiences to smile in their profile photo. If you're doing business in America and you're not smiling in your photo, you look unapproachable and grouchy and people don't want to hire you and don't want to do business with you. I understand this differs slightly in India, so I'll leave it to your best judgment. But I recommend to Americans always smile in that profile photo. The second most important thing is to be professionally dressed. Dress for the job that you want. If you're going to be a software programmer, it probably doesn't matter. You can be in jeans and a t-shirt. I intend to be a data analyst. I dressed in business casual for my profile photo, and I urge anyone to go check out my profile and see if I'm living these lessons that I preach to you. The next most important thing is that you have a neutral background. You don't want anything to distract from your face. It should not be you cropped out of a group photo. It should be a photo of just you, and it should intend to be a profile photo. Make sure it's well lit, focused. People want to see your face. They want to know who they're hiring. The second thing you're going to fill in is your current position. Now, this should be fairly straightforward, but there's one snag here. If you are a student or if you're a career pivot, I would avoid the word student in your current position, and I would avoid the word aspiring. You should make that title the job that you intend to do within reason. If you're going into something that requires a certificate, like you're going to be an engineer or an accountant, obviously you can't say that you're an engineer or an accountant without that certification. So maybe hold off on that. However, a data analyst, you analyze data in school, you are a data analyst. Just because you don't have that degree yet doesn't matter. Call yourself what you want to be. The industry that you work in, again, fairly straightforward. However, make it the industry that you intend to work in. If you intend to work in finance or sports management or marketing, say that. The location you intend to work in, again, quite simple. However, one snag. If you intend to work somewhere where you're not currently residing, let's say you're in college somewhere out in the country and you intend to move to Chennai to get a job, I would make your location that intended location, and that way you're going to show up to recruiters that recruit for that specific area and companies that work there. 5 skills. You need to list 5 skills. Now, it's very easy to search these on LinkedIn and they pop right up. Everyone can list 5 skills. Nobody should struggle with this. You can have up to 50, and I urge you to get as close to that maximum number as possible. And it's not as difficult as you might think. If you're going into data analytics, first of all, different skills will list data analysis and data analytics, so you've got 2 right off the bat. Then if you're going into a specific industry, financial data analysis, stock market data analysis, marketing analysis, sports data analysis, all of these are different skills listed on LinkedIn. And you can get as specific as you want and as broad as diverse as you want. List all your software programs that you use. List all the programming languages that you've mastered. The particular technical programs or platforms. It can add up fairly quickly, especially for those of us in tech. So don't be shy, list all of your skills. And I would include your soft skills as well. If you excel at interpersonal communications, public speaking, team management, any of these things can and should be listed in your skills section. And that's going to be important once you start getting search engines looking for you, which we'll talk about later. Your education. The only thing that I will emphasize in education, the most important thing you list is your highest degree if you have more than one. That's the one that's going to show up in your headline and your school name. If you have multiple degrees at the same level, like you have 2 master's degrees, I would list the one up top that is most pertinent to the job you want to go into. Because again, only one's going to show up in your headline, the rest will show up in your education section. And then the last and possibly most important after the profile photo is your summary or about section, depending on where you're filling this out. It can be called different things. Now, be careful. The summary section can auto-populate based on the rest of the information that you've already put in. However, these auto-populated computer-written summary sections stick out like a sore thumb. Any recruiter or hiring manager is going to see that and know that you put no effort into writing that thing. You let the LinkedIn algorithm write it for you based on your industry and current position and skills. Delete that auto-populated summary, write it yourself, and I want you to base it on the question, tell me about yourself. Most interviews include this question, and if you are looking for jobs, you should have a pretty well-rehearsed 2 to 3 minute answer talking about your skills, your experience, your education, your background, your life. That's what should be in your summary section. Make it about you, your skills, and your accomplishments, and something that's going to attract a recruiter. That's also going to get search engined, and we'll talk about that in a moment. At this point, you've got your 7 steps filled in. Congratulations, you have an all-star profile, and according to LinkedIn, you are likely to get opportunities based on what you've already entered. Pretty simple. So I want to give you 3 more things for effect that I feel will really put your profile into that upper echelon of job seekers and people that are really going to be attractive to search engines and hiring managers. The first one is your banner picture. I see way too many profiles with no banner picture. When that thing is blank, your profile is ugly. No 2 ways about it. When you look at the profile, your profile picture kind of sits up in that upper left corner, and the banner picture is all around it. It spreads completely across the page. If that thing is blank and gray and drab, that says to a hiring manager or a recruiter that you don't care. Look up a picture on the internet, make it something that you're interested in, make it something on brand for your profession, your favorite charity, whatever you do in your free time. Something that speaks to you in a professional manner and conveys your quality to a hiring manager, or at least make it pretty. Too many people give up that massive chunk of real estate on the banner picture. Don't be one of them. Now, the second and third things I'm going to give you relate to search engines. And let me talk for 1 second about search engines. Most profiles, most resumes never get seen by a human set of eyes. They get seen by search engines and applicant tracking systems, or ATSs. And what those search engines are looking for are your headline, your skills, your experience, and your summary. They look for keywords in there that match the job description that they're looking for. So those last two things that I want you to focus on are your headline and your experience section. Let's talk about them. Your headline, based on what you've put in your all-star profile, is going to default to your job and company. I urge you to personalize it. Now, if you look at mine, it has kind of a humorous quote at first, and then it says data analyst. It lists my Department of Defense security clearance, which is very important for me, and then my top 3 key skills. You can take that approach. You can start with just your job title. You can do something that you think is going to be eye-catching. I know some people use emojis. I don't personally think that's terribly professional, but be that as it may. Make it something that's remarkable. Don't make it dull. Your headline also appears everywhere that you make a comment throughout LinkedIn. And the search engine goes directly to that headline for the first hit. And then when it goes to the summary or about section, which is why I told you to focus on that. And then the last place it's going to go is to your experience section. So I urge you to spend some time, especially if you've had multiple jobs, focusing on that experience section. Go back through all your jobs, at least if they're relevant to your current profession. List your accomplishments and your titles, and make sure they're geared towards what you want to do. If you had a lot of projects at your last job, but they don't necessarily relate to what you want to do now, you don't need to list them. But any accomplishments with key progress indicators and impacts should be put in there, because that's the last thing that search engine is going to go check, and your skills to make sure they match up with a job description. Once you've got those 3 things, as far as what I can see, you are probably in the top 10% of LinkedIn profiles. And from there, I could literally talk for hours and hours about other things you can do to your profile. Again, I invite you to come look at mine, Albert Bellamy. I think I'm the top one in the book. But please come look at my profile and see the things that I've worked on. Basically anything professionally that you do can be listed in your LinkedIn profile. And once you make it very attractive, you are going to get offers and you are going to get job opportunities that would not otherwise come to you. Next thing we're going to talk about in the next video is networking. See you there.